Hi there guys, welcome back to another C# tutorial. In this tutorial we are going to talk about inheritance. In the previous code we saw how we created a class and how we can use it and we can add a few methods into that class. Now, in some cases you might need to use an existing code, add to it few little features and without having to rewrite everything from the beginning. Okay, so how do you do that? Well, you can do this using inheritance. Let's take a simple example and work with that. In our previous program, we created a person class. The person class, what does it have? It have properties like person name, person age, a male-female indicator. It has a method for getting a copy of the object. It has a method, a number of constructors, a read method, and a print method. Okay, I hope this is very obvious and you understand this. I assume you understand this, there's no problem. And we want to use the same properties and add to that a job title, maybe because we want to store information about employees, not normal people anymore. Okay, but we want the original code to stay as it is, and we want to add like creating a new class that has the previous functionality in addition to some few other properties. So we're going to create a new class here. Right click and select add, and we're going to choose a class, and the name for this class is going to be employee class. Well, you can say employee, but in my case I like adding the word class to remember what the file is and stuff like that. Okay, so we have this one. So far so good, but the difference, I'm gonna add a colon here, and then I'm gonna say person class. And when the compiler sees the colon and person class, it is gonna copy all the properties and all the methods in the person class and put it in the employee class. So if I go to the main program here and change the person class into employee class, you can see here, and I run the code, I got no error at all. So let me see, Smith 1 to 12, and yeah, so it is working perfectly fine, although I haven't written a single thing inside the class itself. Where does the compiler get the properties and the methods? Well, it copied them from the person class, because this one is a child or inherited the properties of and methods of this one. Does that make sense? I hope it makes sense. Okay, so now we want to add extra methods. Let me show you the previous methods first. So here, if you write p dot, what do you see? You see person name here. You can see person name. You can see person male and age. These are the properties in the person class. Okay, so now we are going to add a new one. So here we are going to say public string job title. There we go. Okay, and now if we go here and say p dot, you can see the job title and person and blah blah blah. Okay, let me create another object, person class. Let me make this e, and this is gonna be p equals a new person class. I'm creating the object just to show you what IntelliSense do, what the compiler does, and what's the difference. So if I say p dot, okay, let me bring this one down, you can see there's a name, a person male, a person age only. But if I use the e object, I got the previous three in addition to the job title. So I was able to successfully add a property into the existing properties. Okay, so far so good, but there is a problem. Well, I created in the original class, the person class, I created a read method. And if you come here, this is the person class, right? Where is the read? This is the read method. Let me bring this one down a little bit. Okay, and I put this code, right? So I want to create a read method for the employee class that will have exactly the same behavior here, in addition to reading the job title field. So what do I do? Well, one simple thing is to rewrite everything, but that's basically that doesn't make sense. Basically, why? I didn't take advantage of the inheritance. I am just adding. The only advantage I got is adding properties, right? So what do I do? Well, let me show you here. If we come here and we add the following: public void read. Now I have the same function, or the same definition for this method. Sorry, I put that in the wrong location. Control X. Here, should be in the inside the class. Look at this read method. This read method is empty, right? And you remember when we ran the code the first time, when there was nothing in this class, it worked perfectly. It went and read the fields. Okay, so now let's see what's gonna happen. It didn't ask us about reading anything at all. Why? Because now it doesn't run the original read method in the person class. Is gonna run this one. The compiler is gonna the program is gonna call this one. This one is the new read method. It replaces or overrides the previous one. Does that make sense? So you might be asking, well, how do I take advantage of the previous code if I have to get rid of it? Well, there is a way. This is what are we gonna do? We're gonna define an object or a pointer. Let's say v, for example, equals this. Now, what type of this? Okay, always this is a pointer that the object used to point to itself. Okay, this means like me. When you are speaking, when you say me, you are talking about yourself. This in here inside the class means the object is getting a pointer to itself. Okay, so basically this pointer is of type employee class. Now you are gonna put that pointer into v, which is of type person class, which is the original class, the one you inherited from it. And now we are gonna say v.read. Now this might not make very much sense, but let me explain this a little bit. So when the code execute the read method is gonna come here. This line here is gonna ask the computer to get the pointer of this object and treat it like what? Like the old person class object. So when you call this read method, the old read method, the one associated with person class, will get executed. Okay, so let us run this. You can see now it's asking me to enter the name, Smith, age, male, female, and it is working. Now one last thing still missing. We didn't read the new property. So I'm gonna say console write job title, and here we are gonna say job title equals console read line. Does that make sense? So I'm gonna run this, and I'm gonna say Smith 22, yes, a job title, programmer. Okay, so the reading now is working perfectly, but the printing is not. Okay, before I continue, let me show you what is happening during the debugging. Okay, hopefully this will make things a little bit more clear. So I'll put a breakpoint over here. There's no need for P. Okay, P was just for illustration. Okay, and now I am gonna, let me on this one. Okay, where's the, yeah, let me put this one here near to us. Okay, so I'm gonna run into this one. Okay, so let's see which method is gonna call. Is gonna call the employee class read method or the person class. So I say step into. Now you can see this read method is inside the employee class, right? So step into. Now this is pointer. You can see this is pointer to the employee class. Okay, if I open this one, come on. Why it doesn't open? I'm not sure. Maybe because of the recording software or something like that, but let's try this. Yeah. Oops. Yeah, that's a problem. Sorry about that. Okay, so Visual Studio hangs on us. Okay, and wait a second. Yeah. Okay, you can see. There we go. You can see here. What do you see? This is type employee class. You can see here there's a job title only, which is null, and there's a basic class. And the basic class has a person age, a person male, and a person name. So far, so good. Now this one will be casted into a person class, which is an MV. So step into that. And now if we stop on V, okay, you can see now V is displaying all the details, right? Does that make sense? Now we're gonna call the read method with V. Okay, again, V is pointing to the same object, but V is being treated a little bit differently. It is pointing to the same object, but being treated as a different class. Okay, so now we're gonna use step into, and now you can see the code jumps into the original class, and now we are required to read the information. Smith, there we go, and the age 55, and give it a yes, whatever, and continue. And we came back from the read method, and now we are asking the user to enter the job title. Okay, so this one is being displayed, and we have to enter the job title, programmer, enter, and now the read method has finished. There's no problem there. Okay, what about the other method, which is a print? Well, since the print, I haven't implemented the print method, it will call the one in the basic class directly. No problem with that. Okay, so let me go here and add a print method. Public void print. Okay. Oh, there's base dot. Oh, there we go. I don't need to do this actually. I can just say base.read. Yeah, I totally forgot. Yeah, I think in Visual Basic there's a super keyword or something like that. So this means go to the basic class and call the read method in the basic class right away. Anyway, so here I'm gonna say base.print and then console.write line job title plus this dot job title semicolon. Okay, so now we replace the print method with ours, right? And by the way, It's not always that you add this part, maybe you add before, maybe before and after, depends on the method. This is only our own example, and it's simple, so we know where to add the code, but in many cases it's kind of complicated. Anyway, let's run this. Sorry, let me remove that and fill the code. This gonna fill the UI or the console. 22, yes, programmer. Okay, Smith is a male of age 22 and job title is a programmer. So you can see it is working fine now. Okay, so what did we have to do here in the code? We only added this member variable, this attribute or this attribute, and we added these two methods. Okay, we just called the basic class method in order to do some of the work for us, and we added the extra functionality. Okay, I hope this makes sense. This is the basic things about inheritance, but there are lots of other things about it that we will talk about later on, like for example using private members when you want to hide some variables so that others don't ruin your code and stuff like that. So I hope things are clear in this example, and yeah, we will continue more with inheritance in the next tutorial. Thanks for watching and have a wonderful day. Bye bye. And right click and